Salvete Ayubiu Spectatores Optus, and welcome back to the city of Rhodeas. And we're going to start today's episode centered on the Rhodean archaeological area, which is in the center of the capital city. So we're still piecing together slowly but surely this entire area. And as they say, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will this be. Although I suppose at this rate it might take quite a bit of time. So I thought in today's episode I'm going to start with a Colosseum area. But there's a really nice asset that was uploaded onto the City Skylines workshop recently, so I'm going to be utilising that. I've already sort of before it was even released, I already knew exactly where it's going to go in this entire archaeological park area. So that's what I'm going to essentially work on today. At the moment we're just sort of panning around the archaeological areas so we can see certain landmarks that I've already constructed in previous episodes, including the Pyramid of Cestius, the Circus Maximus, the Mausoleum of Aulus Rhodeas, Temple of Vesta, and other various buildings and landmarks that have been incorporated so far into the entire site. So yeah, I'm going to crack on with that, so please just enjoy the overall view of the development. I think it's shaping up quite nicely. I'm very happy with the progress so far. Probably the happiest I've been from previous little city building things that I've done. So yeah, it's a learning curve in this game, definitely. So we're slowly panning in now to the site of where the Colosseum is going to be situated. I think this is a nice place essentially to build because it's going to be kind of at the end of the archaeological park area, sort of like it is in Rome for the Forum area, but also it's essentially I've got an idea of the plan of the area. So I've got like the Colosseum at one end, I've got the I think it's called Vittorio on the other end of the archaeological park, and at the top I've got the Circus Maximus. So I've got like these three main landmarks in each of the corners of the archaeological park, and that's kind of I think it's quite nice in terms of like focal points for different areas of the archaeological park. And here just working on the road networking and the Colosseum itself. Lots of props and trees and things that have been left on because of anarchy, I believe. So just removing those, and now just deciding on the decals that I need to use around the Colosseum. I'm looking for this red one. That's the one that I want as kind of like an accent colour, I suppose you could say, which is going to go around the Colosseum. And then I think I'm going to go with like a white or a grey, probably a grey, I think if it's white, it's just going to kind of blend in with the actual Colosseum colour itself, the stone, so I think that's going to be too much, but I think a grey might offer a nice neutral in contrast. No, not this one. Yes, yeah, I think this one's I think this is a good colour. So yeah, just flex around. It should offer quite a nice base for the whole area. Yes, yeah, pretty happy with this, and just kind of just following the kind of contour, the shape of the road going around, and then deciding on the general kind of footprint of the Colosseum area, because I don't want a boring square or a circle. I want the shape to be pretty interesting, or fairly interesting, because of course, you know, this is a European style kind of city, and rarely will you find lots of squares and blocks and very neatly organised city layouts. This is, after all, an organic city that's existed for thousands of years in one shape or another. So it needs to show this kind of, I guess, hicklety-pickletyness. So yeah. I've decided here that I'm going to place another kind of small-ish focal point in comparison to the Colosseum. Now the actual Colosseum had a few, depending on the point of view, and a small number of landmarks or features around the Colosseum. For example, the Colosseum of Nero, and you've also got the Arch of Constantine. So I'm going to replicate that a little in part 1 and in part 2. So for example, here I'm just going to include this custom asset that I made of an emperor. I haven't worked out the name yet, but a emperor of the Rhodean Empire, Imperium even. So that's somewhat reminiscent of the Colossus of Nero, but I will also include an arch, and there is one other thing that I want to include, which is also found around the Colosseum, but I forget the name. There was one thing I'm just literally looking at right now. What was it called? It was a kind of fountain that was located in front, or at least that's what I recall of it. But whether or not that's actually factually correct, I don't know. No, well, it's not overly important at this stage. I mean, I'm going to save that for part 2 anyway, but yes, so I mean, there was like 3 major things that were located around the Colosseum. So you had the arch, the Colossus of Nero, and this other kind of fountain with like a cone shape. It doesn't exist today in present day Rome, unfortunately, and neither does the Colossus of Nero, but the Arch of Constantine does exist, so I definitely recommend anyone go there and visit it, because it's quite an impressive arch in of itself, although I suppose it is a little bit dwarfed by the Colosseum, which is right next to it. So of course, you know, that's going to draw the crowds more than the arch itself, but still, it's very beautiful piece of Roman engineering and ingenuity. So yeah, definitely recommend that. So here I want to create a small somewhat secluded park area, so you know, people can get away from the big crowds and just come to a place where they can kind of relax and enjoy the small fountains that I think I'm going to place around, and enjoy some kind of seclusion, because I'm going to place some some trees, some bushes, and some plants and things around this site. And what I really like are these Garnier or Parisian lampposts, and also the benches are from the Versailles collection, I believe. Yeah, definitely recommend downloading those. I want to say Ernesto, but I'm probably wrong in terms of author. I mean, I have so many assets, I can't I can't remember all of them. But you know, if anybody specifically asks what particular asset is this, then you know I'm more than happy to look into my asset collection and find out the person, the asset creator, and give full credit wherever, or you know, help you find an asset that you really like and that you would like to use in your city. Yeah, so just working out now some different kinds of bushes and plants and things like that. And of course, purple is the accent color of the Rhodean Imperium, so you're going to see a lot of purple featured in the city because it's the imperial color, the color of the Imperium itself, and also featured on the flag. But of course, there are other you know, colors that I want to add just to break things up and keep things interesting and pleasant. So yeah, I'm almost finished placing these plants and bushes and flowers and shrubs and things. I'm just going to place down a few stone pines, which are very common in Italy, and especially you'll see them a lot around Rome, just to give that kind of southern Mediterranean feel, with some junipers. Also very common in southern Europe, or plants which look like junipers at least. And I'm just looking for a fountain, but a prop fountain. Some of these are just too big and they just don't fit. But I'm going to go with I think I'll probably go for this one. I think this one looks the nicest and doesn't detract too much from the statue. Yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Yeah, so set up some extra lighting in this small little I guess piazza, park, courtyards. Well, I wouldn't call it a square, but it's a nice area. We'll just leave it at that. Just going to place down some extra amenities like bins, you know, because this is a heavily touristy area, so it's going to attract a lot of tourists. And of course, you know, with tourists come idiots who like to cause damage. So I'm going to place down some fences in a moment. So I've just placed down some information boards to give information to tourists and visitors, to give information about the Colossus. So now I think I'll place down maybe one kiosk to provide some, you know, beverages or snacks to people in the area, because it's not really a place for a big massive restaurant, obviously, because space is at a premium. Yeah, so I think like a few tables, chairs should be sufficient. And I'm just working out some fencing to prevent people from climbing on the statues, and yeah, we don't want any we don't want to be sued. Yeah, we don't want to be sued by some idiot who just wants some easy money. No, we don't want that. So we're gonna place in some fences to prevent those libel issues and legality issues. No, we don't want that. So yeah, fences can be a bit of a pain in terms of trying to link them all up nicely and make sure that they're all connected. Especially because fences can be at a set length, as well. Some fences, I should say. I think the one that came with, I think it was Park Life. I mean, that can kind of extend to whatever size that you want, or any length, I should say, that you want. But because these are props, these are set sizes, so you've got to just kind of fiddle around with them a little bit more. And I think by adding a few benches around the fountains, and just kind of making them a little bit more symmetrical in terms of the view from the front gate facing the statue, I think is visibly or visually much more pleasing than not. I think that looks okay. I think that looks quite nice. So get rid of all the stuff I don't need, and now work on continuing the decaling of the foundation, the base around the Colosseum. And I'm going to try to have this kind of nice, interesting shape, with some accent colours of the grey and the red brickwork, which I think works very nicely. I'm very pleased with that kind of result. And now just looking for some decal pieces to place inside the Colosseum, just like the real one in Rome, where you've got kind of like the bottom is just grass essentially, where nature is reclaiming or attempting to reclaim the Colosseum. You may or may not have seen paintings actually from I believe the Renaissance era, of vines and trees and plants and things growing all over the Colosseum, which has inspired a lot of romanticism during the Renaissance, which I think looks visually beautiful, but I mean, after all, it's damaging the actual Colosseum itself. So clearly, it was a very smart choice to cut back on the plant life growing on the Colosseum, because a few generations, it's not going to exist anymore. And now I'm looking for some fencing to place alongside the road, just to give that kind of nice separation between the Colosseum area and the actual street. Just to prevent sort of crowds spilling into the pavement, or for American sidewalk area. So you've got that flow of people who are not going to the Colosseum, but kind of want to go somewhere else, and those that specifically want to go to the Colosseum, you've got that prevention of those two groups of people mixing. So you've got that nice flow of movement, which is what we want. And of course we want some nice lampposts going around the Colosseum to make it nice and aesthetically pleasing. And of course we need some planters. A little bit of a mistake here. Wrong button. Yeah, some planters, I think, just to add some extra life to this area would definitely be beneficial. And to provide some shade, to those that don't want to burn in the sun, especially for us Northern Europeans, or Northwest Europeans, or basically anywhere that's not around the Mediterranean. I guess that also applies to North Asia, or North Eurasians, and maybe some Canadians as well, or North United States. But I digress. yes, so here I'm just working at some queuing areas, just like the Colosseum in Rome. You have these queue lines for entrances into the Colosseum, and if I remember correctly, you've got specific ones for things like groups, or individuals, couples, things like this. So yeah, I've decided on about 7. I think it's about 7, or every seventh gate. I think I've placed down an entrance, which I think is probably more than sufficient for a large city, and these big queue lines as well. I think that's good in terms of capacity. Yeah, yeah, I think that looks okay. Oh, and I really like these advertising signs. I want to call them Gangnam. I think they're called the Gangnam Prop Pack from the workshop. I mean, I just envisaged them as like touristy signs that I've just placed around the city, but I mean, I guess they could be anything really. And you don't see these every day, but phone boxes, I thought I'd put those in. I thought, you know, I mean, I can't even remember the last time I actually saw a phone box. Not for, I don't know, 10, 20 years maybe. So yeah, I've just included them because I thought, well, you know, if you're going to place any phone box anywhere, it has to be like a big touristy area, destination, you know. I think that would be beneficial for those that maybe who are lost or being mugged. Because I'm sure there are muggings and robberies that happen in the Rhodean Imperium, just like anywhere else, I suppose. I mean, it is a realistic-ish city that I'm going for. So yeah. So if you are going to be mugged by the Colosseum in Rhodeas, you know, there's a phone box to help you. So don't worry. You know, just dial that emergency number, or you know, flight services, and fly back home. Thanks for staying. Come again. What was I saying? So yes. So now I'm focusing on some detailing further on the foundation. So some nice, like, you know, cracks, puddles, wetness, essentially anything that can kind of give some age and some use, some wear to the brickwork, because you know it's not something shouldn't be something that's a pristine area. It's something that receives a lot of footfall every year, and I think in cities you should probably show that. And of course, what touristy area is not complete without some kiosks and food huts and things like this dotted around. So I've just placed some bins, I've placed some fire hydrants around the area. Yeah, because this place is gonna attract a lot of people, and with a lot of people come a lot of particular demands for trash, food, beverages, shade, shelter, rest, and other things in addition to this. So I want to include some seating now, so people can kind of snack or have a drink while they appreciate the view of the Colosseum, or perhaps just waiting around until the time is right for their entrance into the Colosseum area, because of course those things have to be timed in order to allow the right amount of people into the Colosseum. Don't saturate it. Yeah, so just placing some grass into the planters. So my general approach really is usually start from small or basic, and then increase in size. So I'll start with grass, and then I'll move up to flowers or bushes, and then lastly I'll go into trees. It just makes detailing a lot easier. Yeah, I think those these red ones look quite nice. I'll place these down, either every other or actually every one with the park bench around. And then for others, then I'll place probably some bushes, maybe. I think some bushes. Just need to find the right kind of bush or tree to place. Yeah, I think these junipers, some stone pines around will help to give the view a more interesting dimension, I suppose. But yeah, have some interesting shapes, of course. Some purple as well, or mauve. I don't know, purple-ish color around the site. Yeah, to give it that kind of Imperium feel. Yeah, with some interesting trees. Now here I wanted to kind of separate this area, this seating area with like those small planters that you usually get on like streets, which kind of go around seating areas to keep those seated as like a separate zone or area for those that are walking on the pavement. But yeah, I couldn't really find something that really appeals to me here, so I think I'll just leave it open, and instead I'm just going to focus now on just the lampposts, the little lampposts and lighting around the Colosseum area, or at least one side of the area, because I haven't quite decided what I'm going to have on the other side of the Colosseum. I think I'm going to leave that until part 2. So for example, yeah, I'm going to move the metro or underground station to the other side of the metro now, and here I'm just going to focus more on a ticket office. And for the longest time I really struggled to find a prop that could double up as a ticket office, but I did find a nice asset, which is it's basically a waiting room. I think it's a German asset creator, I want to say, but I'm not 100% positive. I think it's called the Berlin set or something. And when I looked at it, I thought, well, you know, if I add some signs to this, like ticket office, I think it makes a very convincing looking ticket office building also. So that's what I've done. So the big long one I thought could serve for just, you know, couples, individuals, things like that. And I thought the smaller one would be quite good for families or groups, just to help increase that kind of speed, or vice versa. I haven't quite decided yet, but I thought that separation would be beneficial. And I think in part 2 as well, I want to find some kind of asset that helps to promote, or like a small building or small shelter that you often see in tourist areas for like private guides, private tours, or like trips, and like they're a company, but like they've got like this small little hut thing or stand. So that's what I want to go with in part 2. And here I'm looking for like an arch, and I wanted something different than like the Arch of Constantine, but then I was like, no, it has to be the Arch of Constantine. But I know I've already used this previously in another part of the archaeological park, so I'm just going to make this one a smaller version and just get away with that until, you know, either I make my own kind of different arch or someone else uploads one on the workshop. And of course, you know, some small fences just to prevent certain nefarious individuals from climbing or damaging the arch. And of course we need some maps around the site to help visitors locate and find and give information to certain focal points and areas, and some information billboards now around the arch, just to give some history to people about these sites. And of course I put these electrical boxes next to the vending machines, obviously because they need power, and I thought, well, you know, this is quite a common thing to find in tourist areas, with these small little canopies going over these vending machines, so people can just go up and buy things and quench their thirst, essentially. And I felt like this area in front of the arch looks a little bit empty, so I want to fill it out just a little bit with maybe some small planters and place, I think, some orange trees. And I should mention at this point, I thought I had captured the next section, but I hadn't. So you won't actually see me put those orange trees in, but you can actually see just now. But yeah, rest assured, it is actually there. So I've decided this is where the metro station is going to go, on this side of the Colosseum. I wanted to sink it down a little bit just to give kind of a little bit more interest to the site, but it's dragging down the decals a little bit too much. But I'll probably address that in part 2. But for now, I'm just going to work on the Colosseum tram station, add in some information signs, information boards, some advertising, benches, bins, ticket machines, obviously some supports now, which I'm just adding. And what else do I need to add here? Some no smoking signs. I'll add to, and even though I don't have it now, I'm going to download a sign with procedural objects so I can actually add the name of the station to the station, which I probably will do in part 2. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this funky kind of glass roof to this tram station. I think it looks really good, very interesting, very modern, and I think it's a nice juxtaposition between the tram station and the Colosseum. You know, one being very new, the other being very old. And I'm a big fan of that in real life. Anyway, I really like you know, old structures next to new structures, but in a complementary way, but also like opposite. It's I think it's very interesting. Yeah. So that's the Colosseum, area for part 1. Some advertising signs, and I think that's the majority of what I will do in today's episode. So yeah, I think that's it for now. I'm probably going to end this episode here. Part 2, I'll just increase the detail in the general area. So thank you very much for watching, and thank you for your support. I know I don't have a great deal of videos at the moment, and I know that, you know, updates are few and far between, but thank you very much for your support. Please like and subscribe even. It's nice to know that people appreciate what I'm doing. So thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the video. I will end the video with of course, like an aerial shot of the site so far. And I'll leave it at that, and please continue to watch. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of the video.